Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm talking about more haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. There are many ways to support the show. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all kinds of extra content there that I made over the last couple of years here for as little as $1 a month. And you can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and some other items there with designs made by friends of the show. And support is never expected but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Please also follow other friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show on uh, on Saturdays, and Ricky of the Anything Is Possible podcast, uh, as I do a show with him on Sunday nights, and that's been a lot of fun on all things paranormal. And Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own 24/7 online for free. And I think that takes care of that. So, a few things to note here for this episode. Forgot to say this last time. Um, there are always going to be a couple of links about to articles about every one of these locations I talk about in every episode description, so you can check out more about these locations and use that to do your own research if you want to do more and see pictures and all those kinds of things that we can't do on an audio only show. Also, please be aware that information can go out of date and things can change. So please, if you're ever thinking about visiting a location I talk about, make sure it is open to be visited, and check on all the dates and times and all that, because I never recommend trespassing for any reason. So, and I get these write ups made, but using AI, funny enough, but I go through them and I make sure I like them all, and so yeah, this is how these shows go. And let me get back to the document here. We are in the middle of various locations in the state of Maryland. Maryland. Not sure how you say that exactly. I think I've heard both. Words and names are hard, but let's get to this next location here, and that would be the Lord Baltimore Hotel in Baltimore, Maryland. And this place has a rich history and a notable reputation for being haunted. History of the hotel. Uh, the hotel opened on December 30th, 1928, replacing the smaller Caswell Hotel, which had been destroyed in the Great Baltimore Fire of 1904. It was designed by the architect William Lee Stoddart in a French Renaissance style, standing 22 stories tall with a copper mansard roof that has aged to a green patina. At the time, it was the largest hotel in Maryland and dominated Baltimore. The founder of the dominated Baltimore skyline. They have the name Baltimore as the first thing on two of these lines here, so that messed me up. The hotel was named after George Calvert, Lord Baltimore, the founder of the Maryland colony. Originally owned by Harry Busick, a local hotelier, the hotel became an important social and cultural hub in Baltimore uh, over many decades. It hosted notable guests like Amelia Earhart, Babe Ruth, baseball stars. It should be Babe Ruth should be in the part with baseball stars, but Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and civil rights uh, leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who held a press conference there in 1965. The hotel also took a progressive stance by voluntarily ending racial segregation in 1958. It has undergone multiple ownership changes and renovations and remains a historical landmark listed on the National Register of Historic Places since 1982. Haunting of the Lord Baltimore Hotel. Uh, it is repeatedly one of the most haunted hotels in Baltimore and even the United States. The most frequent reported hauntings occur on the 19th floor, where a young girl ghost named Molly is said to roam. She is often seen wearing a long cream dress and black shoes, playing with a red bouncing ball. Molly's spirit is sometimes heard screaming, crying, or rocking uh, herself. Not sure what that means there. With some speculating she died there on the 19th floor during the Great Depression. Indeed, over 20 people reportedly died uh, during those hard times. Paranormal activity also includes unexplained elevator trips to the 19th floor at night, guests feeling unseen touches, nightmares, and sightings of ghostly adults as well. Let's respond again. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Apparitions in period clothing have been spotted in the lobby and mezzanine, and chandeliers in the ballroom allegedly sway without cause. The hotel offers ghost tours focused, there we go, on these spooky experiences and stories. And that's where that one ends. So, again, just one more among a long list of hotels that are said to be haunted, and possibly for valid reasons. Next, we have the Jericho Covered Bridge in Kingsville, Maryland. And this is a historic structure dating back to 1865, renowned for both its engineering significance and its reputation as one of the most haunted sites in the state. Historical background. The bridge was constructed in December 1865 by Thomas Forsyth with the intention of connecting the mill communities of Jericho and Jerusalem across the Little Gunpowder Falls. That's quite the name. The bridge is a Burr arch truss, 88 to 99 feet in length, and remains the last surviving covered bridge in Baltimore and Harford counties. Built shortly after the Civil War, it played a valuable role in local commerce and travel, facilitating access between cotton, spade, and iron mills and other local businesses. Hauntings and legends. The Jericho Covered Bridge is infamous for tales of paranormal activity. Uh, Reports include cars mysteriously stalling on the bridge, ghostly handprints appearing on vehicles, apparitions of a girl with a basket of flowers, and a woman with a badly burned face. One of the most persistent legends involves seeing shadowy figures hanging from the rafters, which some claim are the spirits of Civil War soldiers, enslaved people, or ill-fated lovers. Huh. So that's a lot of possibilities there. I wonder what that really is. Stories also reference a monkey-like creature with a long tail, uh, and it says a red-eyed demon said to guard the bridge, and sightings or sounds of a mother singing a lullaby, searching for a child she lost in the river below. In some variations, the mother, now we're going to that, it's a little too dark, but anyway, uh, there are additional rumors about a hermit who lived near the bridge in the 1970s and allegedly preyed on hikers and passersby, though evidence for this tale is lacking and considered more urban legend than fact. Paranormal experiences. Visitors and late-night drivers report uneasy feelings, unexplained noises, sightings of, again, the swinging bodies there, I mentioned the shadows, and mysterious apparitions across the bridge, which have inspired generations of ghost stories and speculations on about its dark history. The most gruesome tales, such as what I talked about earlier, are disputed by local historians, given that the bridge was built right after the Civil War ended. However, folklore insists the spirits remain regardless of the timeline. Uh, some investigators and ghost enthusiasts use the bridge as a site for paranormal research, sharing photos and experiences online, contributing to the bridge's enduring infamy. And that is something I think you have to be very careful with, investigating any kind of bridges and roads, because they're roads and bridges, and people can be going down them, up or down them. And so, as always, be careful with whatever you're doing. I'm just looking at everything here. Everything still looks okay. Okay, so moving on to the next location here. And this is St. Paul's Cemetery in Chestertown, Maryland. Let's see here. And it has a rich history dating back to the early 1700s, with the parish founded in 1692 and the church built on land offered by a local businessman in 1713. And it says the cemetery is located off uh, Sandy Bottom Road, and is one of the oldest and most well-kept graveyards in Maryland, renowned both for its historical significance and reputed paranormal activity history. The cemetery surrounds St. Paul's Kent Church, one of the oldest churches on Maryland's eastern shore. The earliest graves date from the 18th century, with notable burials including Union and Confederate soldiers, as well as prominent town figures such as Daniel Cohen, died 1727. The cemetery is shaded by a large chestnut tree, believed to be over 400 years old. It's always amazing. Hauntings and paranormal reports. St. Paul's Cemetery is known as a hotspot for paranormal activity. The most famous ghost associated with the cemetery is that of actress Tallulah Bankhead. Witnesses have reported hearing her raspy voice if they pressed their ear to her gravestone slab, along with mysterious offerings left on her grave, such as beads and empty vodka bottles. Another well-known apparition is that of Tench Tillman, a Revolutionary War officer whose lantern is said to be seen crossing the bridge at the edge of the cemetery on especially dark nights. Other reports include doors opening and closing by themselves. I'm guessing there must be mausoleums there, or anyway. Um, Disembodied voices, moving objects, and the sightings of shadowy figures, cold spots, and flickering lights. Visitors have also described a sorrowful woman in Victorian era clothing wandering around among the tombstones. So yeah, I'm guessing they must have maybe lights on post and maybe an office or something. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess it would be the church, wouldn't it? They said there's a church there. I forgot that. Anyway, so that makes sense. Doors opening and closing, lights flickering. Um, the gravestone activity is fascinating. Hearing the person's voice uh, when they put their head to the tombstone. That's I don't know if I've ever heard of that before. So that's a new one. And of course, it makes me wonder how and why. But as usual, we don't have answers. So let's get to at least one more location here. And the next one here is the Admiral Fell Inn, and then it's Fell, and then Inn. This is in Baltimore, Maryland, and it's a historic hotel complex made up of 8 buildings dating back to the late 1700s. Originally, parts of the site operated as a ship chandlery, a vinegar factory, a YMCA. That's quite the change from others, and a boarding house for sailors and actors. Founded in the early 1900s, the Anchorage was a Christian boarding house created as a safe haven in the rough and rowdy Fells Point area, which was known for its saloons, gambling uh, gambling halls, brothels, and mob activity. Uh, Mercy nuns cared for sick sailors here, but many died on the premises. In 1929, the YMCA expanded the facility into a Siemens YMCA lodging, uh, Siemens YMCA lodging up to 50,000 sailors per year until the 1950s. The vinegar factory closed in the 1970s, and the property was renovated and repurposed as the Admiral Fell Inn in 1985, growing into the 80-room boutique hotel it is today, with a historic charm that pays homage to its 18th century roots. Regarding hauntings, the Admiral Fell Inn is considered one of Maryland's most haunted hotels. Many spirits are believed to linger, including sailors and possibly victims of the area's past mob violence. That's a whole other topic, by the way. A lot of places that are said to have had a lot of activity like that with mafia or organized crime. Uh, it seems like there's quite a few ghost stories that come from any place there where they were prominent. So, um, and I've kind of learned that just from listening to paranormal shows on TV over the years, and they've talked about many places like that. So, guests and staff. One moment here. Guests and staff report paranormal phenomena such as floating ghostly sailors, invisible entities knocking on doors, ghost dogs, and an apparition of an old lady who sits on beds and shushes guests. Strange sounds of parties, laughing, glasses clinking, and even gunshots, that's terrifying, have been heard in empty rooms. One particularly notorious haunting centers on room 413, where in 1999 Christopher Jones was brutally murdered by Gary Mick. Staff members often avoid cleaning or entering this room due to eerie sensations, cold spots, and shadowy figures. And that's where that one ends. That's a lot going on there in that hotel. Um, so this next location looks like I might be able to get through it. We're moving on to Massachusetts now. I think we know a good friend of the show that lives over there, Derek, Night Stalker. Works at night in the grocery store, literally stocking shelves. So that's where his name comes from there. This is the Ropes Mansion in Salem. And I think I'm going to. So the next several locations here will be from Salem. But anyway, we can go into that. I should probably do a show on the whole topic someday. The Ropes Mansion in Salem, Massachusetts, is an iconic Georgian colonial home, originally built in the 1720s for wealthy merchant Samuel Samuel Bernard. After Barnard's death, the property was sold in 1768 to Judge Nathaniel Ropes. I'm not sure if that's even. Anyway, a prominent local figure known for his loyalist sympathies during the American Revolution. In March 1774, while Ropes was gravely ill with smallpox, an angry mob attacked the home, demanding that he recant his loyalty to the British crown. Ropes died the following day, and local legend uh, holds that the violence and tension surrounding his death left a lasting mark on the mansion. The house remained in the Ropes family until the early 1900s, later becoming a museum and landmark with beautifully maintained gardens. The mansion's haunted reputation stems from its history of family tragedy. Multiple deaths occurred within its walls. Um, so let's see here. I'm going to skip a little bit here. People have reported, um, so visitors and investigators have reported uh, apparitions and unexplained phenomena, and Judge Ropes is said to be seen wandering around or seated in his former rooms, while the ghost of Abigail, another family member I'm guessing here, since I skipped over part of it, is uh, reputed to linger after her tragic death. The reported hardships, fires, and family losses have fueled persistent tales of paranormal energy and lingering spirits. And that's going to do it for this episode. So we'll get into more Massachusetts locations next time on the next episode in the series. And I will talk to you all then. Thank you all for listening. And I'll talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.